You grew up in Liverpool. Like me, I think, Ian, you grew up watching the great Liverpool teams of the 70s and the 80s with our friend Steve Nicol as a big part of those teams. And, you know, they last won the title in 1990 with Stevie Nicol on board. Can you believe it's now been 30 years? Transitioning to where Liverpool are now, on the verge of winning another title?
I can believe it, because I was there when they last won it. And obviously, you know, been the last 10 years or 10 years, for 10 years, I was there as the CEO. And I think the thing that I think the most is that it shows that, you know, and there's other teams, if you look at where United are at the moment, where Arsenal are at the moment, you get this period where people think they can just turn it around. It's so hard to win that league now. It's so hard to turn a team around. But, I mean, they're just in great shape in every area now. Great squad, great coach, great infrastructure. And I feel very proud to have been a part of it.
Yeah, you were there when Jurgen Klopp arrived.
Yeah, I brought Jurgen to Liverpool, and, you know, and even looking at the team, you know, the team that will play on Sunday, there'll be 6-7 players in that team that we brought during my time there. And that's what I mean about when you hear people say, oh, you know, we're getting a new coach and we're going to fix this for next season. It's really not that easy. And I think that the most important thing that happened in that period was making a plan and year on year sticking to that plan. Great owners again. And, you know, it's all those constituent parts come together, and now they look undefeatable.
You talk about that plan. There had to be challenges to that plan. Obviously, when the Fenway Sports Group comes in with John Henry, there was some early criticism because I think the expectation when new groups take over clubs that they're just going to splash the cash and success is going to be instantaneous. But talk me through some of the early building blocks that you and Fenway Sports Group had to lay in place that sees the team where it is now.
Well, I think it's interesting because it's kind of the similar approach that we're having for Nashville in building a team. Of course, it wasn't from scratch, but, you know, thinking about infrastructure, the big piece of work we did on the stadium, which for a lot of people is like, what's that got to do with, you know, Jurgen Klopp winning the Premier League? Well, you know, it adds more revenue, it creates a bigger atmosphere, it creates a big... That started way back when they started. And as you said, there were lots of points where we were heavily criticised about what we were spending or how we were going about it, or the coach you bring and these different things. But there was always the same plan in the background. It was find a coach who plays young and develops young players, you know, from Kenny initially, then Brendan, then Jurgen. All, you know, it's okay to have a great academy, which they do, run by an incredible guy, and bring in talent like Trent Alexander through. But if you haven't got a coach who's going to give those type of players a chance, it isn't going to work. And, you know, Brendan really stepped that up, and we saw Raheem come through and others, you know, with Kenny. And I think it's just keeping going. It's keeping on the plan. We had lots and lots of, you know, people knocking us at the time, people telling us we should be doing it another way, people telling us our transfer committee wasn't the right approach. You know what? It's kind of working okay now.
And how difficult is it from a front office perspective to be patient, to understand that you have a plan in place and to be able to trust that plan when there is a lot of not only expectation but a lot of pressure from the outside looking in and saying, hey, wait a minute, this should go in a different direction?
That's the hardest piece, and that's why I think you have to be aligned, you know, as a group. So the owners, the coach, the management, the player, everybody has to be aligned with the plan, and everybody has to, you kind of have to stick together. The hardest people to bring along on that journey are the fans, because every fan wants, and I'm a fan as well, so everyone wants instant success. But if you keep aligned and you keep, you know, the media will try to break you apart with...
Who's that? Who's that?
But, you know,
Wait a minute.
People will try to find reasons to say that people aren't happy and all that. But if you're all aligned, you're all in a room and can look each other in their eye and say we're on the same path, then I think you can achieve great things. And you go from people saying, even 2 years ago, oh, Jurgen's been given this time, but he's not won anything, and, you know, maybe he's not the right fit. Like, everybody in that place knew he was the right guy, and... You know, so it's been proven.
And you mentioned being a fan. How was that challenge? You know, being a fan and trying to steer this club in the right direction. Did it make Sunday dinners a little bit more difficult?
It was awful. It was awful. It was the hardest part. I don't think I enjoyed a game, you know, very much in the 10 years I was there, if I'm really honest. And I love watching now as a fan, and purely as a fan. But it helped as well because I understand the DNA of that club. I've been supporting them for 50 years, and that's why I've got a grey beard. But it was. I was hugely proud being from the city to run my hometown team, but it was hard. It was. You had to learn to look at it, as a business person, if you like, with a responsibility rather than with your. Rule it with this rather than this, but nice to be back to, watching it with my heart.
And I know you have to get up early in Nashville to watch those Liverpool games.
There's something very unique about having a beer in a bar with all the Liverpool supporters club at 9:30 on a Saturday.
In your 10 years at Liverpool, what do you rate as the best deal you pulled off, Ian? Because there were some big name arrivals, player-wise and coaching-wise. What if you had to pick one?
It's hard to pick one. I would say either bringing Philippe Coutinho as a young boy from Milan and going out to Milan and camping out in their offices till we convinced them to let him come. Like £10 million or something, and ultimately went to Barcelona for I think 145 or something.
So is that good business?
Great business, but I think also bringing him and seeing him grow as a player and go through with the different coaches with Kenny and with Brendan and then on with Jurgen. I think that gives you great satisfaction. And I think Sadio Mane, who today, for me, world class player, and again, a great individual and. Even at the time, people think, and this often happens, is people think you've overpaid. We had that with Firmino. It was another one that people like, he paid 30 million for, because he was in Germany and playing, but I don't think people really understood his potential. And so it was great.
Good bit of business with Salah too. Weren't you in on that?
No, I wasn't. I didn't do. Salah was the year after I left, and then Virgil after that. But yeah, lots of the players, as I said earlier, Gino Wijnaldum, Divock Origi.
Suarez? Didn't you sign Suarez?
I was there when we brought Suarez and sold Suarez. He had a biting issue at the time.
We won't blame you for that.
No, definitely not.
You mentioned Jurgen Klopp and bringing him to Liverpool. How did you know, and when did you know that he was the right man for the job?
Honestly, I'm a big believer that you particularly when you run businesses and particularly running football clubs or soccer clubs, is you develop a thing about first impressions are everything. And first time I met Jurgen was actually in the US. We wanted to talk to him about the opportunity, and we wanted to find somewhere where the media where he wouldn't be as followed and we met in a secret office in New York. And I can honestly say within like 15 minutes, this guy's perfect for our team. Not because I'd seen all of his coaching ability and all those things, but just as a human, as an individual, everything you see is real. There's no... Jurgen, one of the things I really admire about him is he's very natural. It's like everything you see from him going on the field and hugging everybody and, that whole thing, it's very natural. He doesn't do it for effect. He doesn't do it to make himself seem like a nicer person. It's just real. And he was. I just connected with him immediately. And again, it was one of the times when you know your team, your city, your club, you know what's right for it. And I don't think, with the greatest respect to all the managers that went, since him and up to Jurgen. I don't think since Shankly there was ever anyone who really, maybe Kenny Dalglish, but Jurgen really is like that sort of thing. He's almost like this prophet type level of manager, and he's absolutely perfect for that club.
Ian, thanks ever so much for the time. Great talking to you. Best of luck first year here in MLS.
Big fan of country music now, right?
Huge country music fan. I'm going to bring my cowboy hat.
There you go.
And we will know you'll be there celebrating if and when Liverpool clinch that title. Some bar in Nashville.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.